this weekend, honk your horn. If you have voted your ballot, honk your horn. If you're going to get your friends to vote their ballots, honk your horn. All right, good. This is a get out the vote rally, after all. I'm Rafe Garybill. I have the distinct pleasure of being your Democratic nominee for Attorney General. Thank you. What I want to do tonight is I want to make an argument to you about why the Attorney General's race matters to your everyday life, and why in particular this election, your choice, your vote in the Attorney General's race could make a tremendous difference to you and the people that you care about. Now to do that, I'm going to need some of your help. You have those horns ready? Yeah? All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I want you to think about the people in your life that you love, that you would do anything for. Now, if you know someone who has survived cancer, honk your horn. Does anybody out there know someone who struggles with their weight, with diabetes, with heart disease? Honk your horn. Does anyone know someone or love someone who struggles with addiction or mental illness? Honk your horn. Well, I'll tell you, those issues have touched my family too, and I feel for you, and I will pray for you. But I am also here with a message for you. You see, there's a lawsuit right now at the United States Supreme Court, and the goal of that lawsuit, brought by Republican attorneys general, is to take the struggles, the successes of the people that you love, and turn them into an excuse for insurance companies to charge them more money, to rip away their care. It's wrong, and we have to stop it. I'll tell you, I'm running against perhaps the most extreme Republican ever to receive his party's nomination for office in Montana, a guy named Austin Knudsen. Well, Austin Knudsen said the entire reason he's running for Attorney General is to support that lawsuit. Think about that. He wakes up in the morning, he brushes his teeth, he goes out to campaign in order to take away health care from people that now we can stop it. Republican attorneys general started this lawsuit, but if we all do our jobs, we all vote our ballots, we elect Democratic attorneys general, we can stop this lawsuit. To make sure our criminal justice system recognizes addiction as an illness and a disease, and is founded on principles of fairness and equality in our society. We're going to fight for clean air and clean water. Now here's another issue that the general. You sick of waiting in line for your driver's license when you renew it? A comprehensive plan just last week to make it so that you can renew your license online, title your car online, so you can get in, get out, and get on with it. Now we can do these things. We can make the Attorney General a people's lawyer, an advocate for you in your daily life. But I'm going to need your help. You see, the reason you see these dark money ads on TV is they're afraid of the power of your vote. Because this is America and your vote still matters. You still decide our elections. So where I don't have a big junk truck full of dark money for big tobacco, I do have you, and I do have your help. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions to round this out. If I can get those horns ready, if I can count on you to vote for Rafe Garybill for Attorney General, honk that horn. If I can count on you to get your friends and your family to vote for Rafe Garybill, honk that horn. If I can get your friends and your family to vote for all these Democratic candidates up here tonight, honk that horn. Let's hear it for our next Attorney General, Rafe Garybill. Now I get the opportunity to introduce to you
one fellow that's running for Secretary of State, and we all know how important this job is. This is about making sure that all the votes are counted, and we need somebody in that position to do exactly that. I give to you our next Secretary of State, Bryce Bennett.
And with your help, I will be Montana's next Secretary of State. I grew up in a small town in eastern Montana called Isham. Isham is like a lot of other small towns around this state. There was barely 400 people there when I lived there, and the school fit kindergarten through high school down one hallway. Partisan politics doesn't come up a whole bunch in a little town like that. Folks up the road need help changing their irrigation pipes, or when there's sandbags that need to be filled, you do it because your community is counting on you and it's the right thing to do. That's the reason I got involved in politics. That's the reason that I got involved in politics. Registering people to vote, going out in knee-deep snow, pouring rain, not too similar to this. Making sure that every Montanan has their voice heard in our democracy. But folks, unfortunately, I gotta tell you, I don't see those same small town values in our capital today. We see some politicians out there that use these important offices as political stepping stones or some sort of trophies. And we have seen the absolute worst of that in the Secretary of State's office, run by my opponent, that has become plagued with corruption and incompetence. Whether it's handing out government contracts to some of their biggest donors, illegal abuse of state-owned vehicles, hiring corrupt members into the office, or having absolutely no plan at all to deal with the threat of COVID-19 and its effects on our democracy, this office has become an absolute mess. But the good news, folks, the good news is that this November, we can clean up this mess. Are you ready to clean up this mess? Folks, we need a Secretary of State that will be an advocate for our outdoor heritage. From hunting and fishing to hiking and biking, our values and our outdoor economy are in the hands of our landlord. You know, I grew up swimming in Flying Lake and exploring the areas outside of my grandpa's hunting cabin up by Zorkman. You know, these public lands are special to me. And any attack on them is something that I take personally. That's why in the legislature, I pushed for bills that would put heavy fines on out-of-staters that want to put up gates and barbed wire to block off our access to our public lands. I pushed back on the special interests that want to sell off our public lands to the highest bidder. And folks, as hard as this is going to be to believe, you have to believe when I tell you this. When a reporter asked my opponent what her vision for the land board was, she told them that she wasn't well versed on what the land board even does. And folks, we cannot trust someone to protect our access to our public lands if after 4 years of serving in that office, she doesn't even know what the job is. Are you ready for a Secretary of State that will keep our public lands in public hands? And of course, folks, our Secretary of State is the defender of our democracy. The person that makes sure that every single one of you, every eligible Montana voter has the opportunity to have their say in our future. And despite the fact that my opponent has spent the last 4 years doing everything she can to put barriers between voters and their ballots to advance her partisan agenda, we have fought back. And I'm proud of the fact that I've been able to send bipartisan bill after bipartisan bill to the governor's desk to make sure that our democracy is more secure, more accessible, and stronger than ever before. I made sure that farmers in eastern Montana don't have to drive hundreds of miles just to cast a ballot. We fought against voter suppression efforts aimed at our Native American brothers and sisters. And when 72,000 Montanans were at risk of losing their ability to cast a ballot, I fought for a fix to make sure that each and every one of you could vote now and forever. And folks, I even passed a couple bills that will help some folks vote that may not be voting for me this year. And that's okay, because it was the right thing to do, and we should always expect a Secretary of State that will put Montana ahead of their own political career. So folks, we've got a battle ahead of us, and we knew that none of this would ever be easy. But I know that together we have tackled every challenge that has come our way. Because when they tried to steal away health care from 90,000 Montanans and shut down our rural hospitals, we fought back and we won. When special interests tried to pour buckets and buckets of dark money into our state, to drown out your voices, to tell you what you're supposed to think or how you're supposed to vote, we fought back and we won. When folks in the legislature tried to push bills that would sell off our public lands to the highest bidder, we fought back and we won. And no matter what they put in front of us this year, we are going to organize, we are going to vote, we are going to fight back, and we are going to win this November. We are 21 days from the most important election of our lifetimes. And the result of that election, the outcome of that election, depends entirely on the work that each and every one of you is going to do between now and the last day of our election, the last ballot that's cast. So I'm asking each and every one of you, will you cast your ballots? Will you volunteer? Will you knock some doors? Will you make some phone calls? Will you fight for our democracy like you have never fought before? This is our moment. This is our democracy. We cannot sit on the sidelines, folks. In 21 days, you all have the ability to decide whether we will have a Secretary of State who has only fought for herself or someone who is fighting for you. Now, let's get this done. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful night.